you know that this was based off of a show from the 80s? Because I did not. I found that out after watching the third one. And we were discussing Equalizer 3, starring Denzel Washington, the final chapter to his trilogy. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought the first one was great. The story, the way it connected, it felt personable and local. I thought the second was an enjoyable movie, but it lost that local touch, that piece that made it personable. And it didn't make it a bad movie, it just wasn't as great as the first one. I say this leading into how I feel about the third one. Welcome to I Just Watched. I'm Joseph. Spoiler warning just in case you haven't seen the movie, but let's jump into it. It's funny because in the beginning you see the trail of bodies that he leaves, and it's the simple, well, it's simple to us of course watching, but the simple situation, he's there for something that was stolen from a friend, which then leads to this grander global scale, and it starts to grow this massive plot. And initially I was a little worried because like I said, I like that local feel you get from the first one versus this grander scale of it in the second. So I was like, oh damn, we're kind of going down that road again. And then he gets injured. He's saved in this small town, and I apologize, I forget the name of the town, by Gio, the sheriff. And then Dr. Enzo, like, they help him, they cure him, they, take time. You see him kind of start to fall in love with the town, and the town people start to accept him as a local, as one of them, with this cane. When he's going up the steps, you see him take breaks, he's struggling, he's trying to adapt. And of course, he's meticulous. He does his napkin, his own spoon that he brings with him for his tea. And you see how they transition to eventually, he forgets his spoon at the end of the movie when he's walking away. He's found his peace. Although they were building this grand plot that does exist and gets resolved, they were able to keep his aspect of it, or the cause and effect of his situation, local to that town. It brought in that personable feeling that I got from the first one. And one thing about this movie, there's definitely calls back to the first one and bits of the sequel. I mean, the quirk that he uses to kill someone in the first one, you see a reference to it in here when he uses it again. There's notions and nods to the kills and tactics that he used previously in this one. So it's like, if you've seen the first two, you'll understand his mindset a bit more, like how he uses what's around him to fight, to win, to overcome the situation. And you kind of get nods to the original one. So I thought that was really fun and enjoyable. Great movie. I like it more than the second. The way they kept it personable for his story. I fell in love with the town, watching him develop and become one of the townspeople. But once he gets his vigilante on to defend his town, this movie goes super quick, because I really thoroughly enjoyed the beginning and the development of the town, the characters and all that. Once it gets going towards the end there, and he's taking out this low level tier mafia dudes, and one of them obviously is attached to the brother, which you find out during the movie. Then the brother shows up, then the town helps him, and you have this moment where the town is like claiming him. He's 100% one of them now. Like, it's us versus you kind of thing now, because he is one of them. And then that same night, he goes to the main dude Vincent's house, takes out his whole group, his whole mafia group, one by one, just going through them, taking them out, eventually getting to Vincent, who he force feeds the drugs he was smuggling to have him overdose. And the fact that he was involved was the fact that he went to that initial house to get that pension money back for a guy that briefly mentions it in a ride, I think in the second movie, and it ties completely in. I love the way it ties in his story. It shows you development and connects to the first and second film. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I think it's definitely rewatchable. I'd be excited to watch it again, and it's worth a trip to the theater. But I love hearing your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, requests. I want to know, did you know this was based off of a show from the 80s? Also, if you had to rank them 1, 2, and 3, what order would you put them in? I love hearing from you. But until next time, stay safe, be well, y con mucho amor. Adios.